Hi, y'all. It's really lovely to be here. Thanks for having me. If you can't hear me, I'll try to be louder. If I'm too loud, just tell me to pipe down. So the folks in the back, are we okay? Can you hear me? Thank you so much. Okay. If that changes, don't be shy. Let me know. I really do appreciate y'all letting me come here and speak with you today. When Amy and Paul called me, we were talking about what I would talk about. And one of the first things I was like, well, duh, because I now live full time in Roslyn. I own a fly shop guide service on the Yakima and Clayella rivers. I'm going to talk about that. And they're like, well, Todd's coming over from Yakima Fly Fisher to talk about the Yakima River. And I was like, oh, well, Todd's amazing. I love that guy. That's fantastic. You will love that presentation, right? Then I was like, well, can I talk about my beloved Olympic Peninsula? Because I grew up right across the water, and so we got really excited about that. And that's what I'm here today to talk to you about. So we're going to do a little bit of talking about the Olympic Peninsula, but specifically smaller streams and creeks on the Hood Canal, Jefferson Mason, and a little bit of Squim, okay? That's what we're going to talk about. But before I start with that, I kind of want to give you just a little glimpse about who's talking to you this evening. First of all, this club was founded in 1965, so this club is 1 year older than I am. So technically it should say Olympic Flyers since 1965, only women will fly since 1966, but I didn't have time to do it, I didn't know how. So we're both gonna have sort of milestone events here shortly. I did want to tell you that I'm super impressed and excited about the amount of activities that this club has and the membership that it has. It's amazing. You all know our sort of club membership sort of ebb and flow, but it's so awesome to see this club just become dynamic and bigger and doing all these different outings. You have a conservation segment, and I freaking love that. Thank you so much. We can't care for the resource and use the resource without really diving in and being part of the reason that our fish are healthy and happy. So I really love it when a club knows that, sees that, and acts on it. It's not always the case, so kudos to you all. Just a little bit about me. I grew up on the north end of the Hood Canal. I grew up about 3 miles south of the Hood Canal Bridge on the south side, okay? So I grew up between Paulsville and Kingston. It's true that my first memory is of catching a fish, but I can tell you why that is. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She ran the farm. My dad was a police officer. They had 5 kids in rapid succession. I was 4th out of 5, and I was very hyper. I would not sit still. I was a real, let's call it go-getter. Early on, my mother realized that a way to keep an eye on me would be to sit me next to any body of water, hand me a little stick with an actual string on it, and just hang out. And I would just intently watch, okay? So if you can imagine, intently, tiny me, stick, string, honest to Pete, safety pin, and one single tiny egg. We're talking egg, like Potski bait egg. Okay, we understand. Staring. Suddenly, I remember it still, this tiny fish that was probably about the same width and length as the safety pin comes to the egg. The egg is too big for the fish to take in its mouth, so it just sits there on it, and I'm transfixed, right? That counts. That was my first, and that happened, and I've been just insane about it ever since. So we want to flash forward a little bit too, and this is how me and fly fishing got started. And you deserve to know this, so you know exactly who and what you're going to hear in a second. So I love to fish. My dad was a fisherman. I was the only one of the whole family that really dug it. So he was a police officer in Paulsville, and he did not make a lot of money. My mom ran the 50-acre farm. We sold all the things you sell when you own a farm. We sold milk, we sold butter, cheese, meat from the cows, that kind of thing, right? We were just trying to make ends meet, my mom was. Not a lot of room or money for sort of vacations, if you will. So we grew up playing in the Olympics. So we go straight across the Hood Canal Bridge, and then the Olympics is my playground. There is not a better playground in the world, quite honestly. But that was how I grew up, right? So I'm 7. I've got older siblings. And my dad says to me, hey, first of all, I forgot to skip the part. Our first initial, and it's freaking annoying. So my name is J. Michelle Swope. Swope's my last name. J is the first initial, and then Michelle. The J stands for absolutely nothing, thanks mom and dad. Super confusing to every government agency that's ever existed. It was really a delight to try and get my passport, but that is the truth. So you are welcome to call me J Michelle, or just hey you. As long as I know you're talking to me, we're golden. So my dad, 7 years old, says, Michelle, it's gonna be your birthday. You're about to turn 7. What do you wanna do? And I go, well, I wanna fish. And he goes, well, how about if just you and me go fishing? And I was like, that's amazing, because time with dad, what a resource, right? Like, what an amazing thing to do. So I was like, yes, absolutely, let's do that. So he works a graveyard shift, picks me up. He drives 3 hours to the Elwha, yes, exactly. And he says, listen, we're gonna sit here at Aldwell Lake. And at the time, before they took the dam out, Aldwell Lake existed. And so he's like, don't wake me up, I've worked all night. You're gonna take your canoe, you're gonna go paddle around Aldwell Lake, and then when I wake up, I'll whistle and we'll fish together. Fantastic, this is like the best thing ever. So I get the canoe on my back, I trundle it down, I dump it into the lake, I hop in, and I'm paddling around, and I've got my little spinning reel and my spinning around my Zebco reel, my little rooster tails, and I'm just having the time of my life. But I'm not catching any fish. And so, a couple of hours go by, but I'm determined, right? And then all of a sudden down the lake, I see this really weird thing. And I keep looking and I paddle a little bit closer. There's 2 gents down the lake from me. And they're doing this really interesting motion and don't know what's happening. But what I do know is they're catching fish. And I freak out. I'm like, this is the most magical, weird thing I've ever seen in my life. And I need it to be explained. So I reversed course, I paddled back as fast as I could, forgetting that my father told me not to. Ran up to the Suburban and banged on it. Remember dad, police officer? Dad, 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 dad. My father comes blasting out, right? Ready for, thinking World War III has happened. And he was like, I was like, oh, yeah, sorry. I was like, but do you see what's going on down there? What is that? He goes, oh, that's fly fishing. And I said, well, I want to do that. And he said, well, I don't know how, but we'll figure that out. So the very next week, I got my first fly rod, which is fantastic. It was an Eagle Claw. He got it from Ace Hardware. When we remember when Ace Hardware, I see nods, my people. Okay, so then, and then I'll just tell you a little bit further, and then we'll kick this off. So that was fantastic, and I had that fly rod. And I was out in the field of those 50 acres, just whipping the grass in the pond. I didn't know what I was doing. This is pre-internet, right? So I'm in the library, I'm looking at books, I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to why isn't this working? Or maybe it is working, I don't know. It doesn't look like those guys on the lake. So that dad says, hey, I think that you would really enjoy making flies, tying flies. I go, sign me up. So he brings me home a fly tying kit. Again, from Ace Hardware. Maybe some of you remember this fly tying kit. So it's very popular at a time. So it came in this flat little box. It had the jankiest vise one has ever experienced in life. Right? If you looked at it, funny it would bend. It came with gray, black, and white thread. It came with now what I know were dyed parrot sort of feathers, okay? But the instruction book, y'all, the instruction book was in color. And it had the most beautiful flies in it. I know now that the pictures I was looking at were templates of Atlantic salmon flies. Who does that? So that was the juxtaposition of this fly tying kit. Well, not to be defeated, I turned to a life of crime. Now the following is either a tale of inspiration or a cautionary tale, you decide. I started to take my mother's sewing thread, not a lot of money, she made a lot of our clothes, she had all the pretty colors. And I started to try and look around at the farm and see what was available that I could use. Cow's fur, some chicken feathers, dogs. The dogs were gorgeous. Black, silver, white, beautiful hair. By the way, dog fur does not work that well, but regardless. So I'm just going to town. I'm trying all I can do. All the different things I can do to try to make these creations lovely. And one day, Sunday dinner, my mother says, kids, please quiet yourselves, I need to make an announcement. And we're like, okay. She says, we've got to put down the dog. And we're like, oh my God, what? Why? She goes, because the dog has mange. We said, well, what is mange? And she goes, I'm not really sure, but he's missing patches of And I was just like, dog's fine. Anyway, there you are. So, I still love fly tying. I do not take dog's hair, but other hair works great. I have been known as, most of you who tie, don't deny it, I won't make you out yourselves, but you've pulled over before and cut off a squirrel tail. I know you have. Anyway, it's good stuff. So, flash forward, I have fly fished my entire life. I fish for other things as well, and with other things, but I love fly fishing. I don't hold still well, so it really works for me. I teach it, I love it, I advocate for it. And these are just some pictures of my beloved Olympic Peninsula. I guided on the Olympic Peninsula. It's how I really learned to guide. Started out for winter steelhead, because that's fun and easy. Did that for a long time. Went over to the Yakima River and guided in summertime because it was warm and it was nice and the trout were bigger. I did a lot of work with sea run cuts, guided for them in the Hood Canal and Puget Sound for a long time. Ended up stopping my career that paid a lot of the bills when I turned 50 and said to myself, you know what fights less at work? Fish. I'm going to work with fish all the time. So I stopped doing that and became a full-time guide and started my own business. And so that kind of flashes us forward to now. I was Oli Women on the Fly for a long time. Oli as in short for Olympia, not only. I should have really investigated that a little further before I picked that name, but here we are. And then at the same time, I helped my buddy in Spokane. We created United Women on the Fly, which is now an international organization that we have a big online presence. And now we have a nonprofit, which is I Fish, I Belong, where we have United Women on the Fly underneath it. We intentionally have a couple programs that help break down barriers and get everyone, regardless of race, gender, blah, 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 into the sport of fly fishing. We want people, more of us in the outdoors. We want more friendly faces. We want more folks welcome in the outdoors and to at least try fly fishing, right? So we're trying to break down barriers and do that. So that is who is talking to you today. Let's begin. Here's the cool thing about fishing, which most of you hopefully will agree. You get to go really cool places, right? So Amy was right. I did get to spend all of January in Argentina. And it's not because I am a rich person, I am not, but what I did get to do was host a trip to the Argentinian side of southern Patagonia, and it was magical. And then I ended up staying in Argentina because the US dollar is very favorable down there currently. And I stayed all of January and just ran around and explored after my clients went home. It was quite lovely. So I've gotten to go to the bottom of the world. I got to go to the top of the world. I volunteered for an organization that is still around called Soul River out of Portland, Oregon, that matches youth at risk with wounded veterans, and we take long excursions. And so we spent 3 summers taking folks down the Ibishak, which dumps into Prudhoe Bay on the north side of the Brook Range. And we did an expedition for 3 weeks, and it was fantastic. We've done that 3 years in a row, and it was fantastic. That was wonderful. I've gotten to go to the Ibishak, and that is not a steelhead, that is a rainbow, and that's a 2-handed cast for these gigantic rainbows. It's bigger than a lot of our salmon. I have fly fished for lane cod, and I will tell you right now, don't try it. It is the worst thing. You will cry, even if you're not a crier. You will end up crying, and you will wonder why you ever started fly fishing in the first place. I'm going to spare you. Just don't do it. It can be done. It is horrible. And then, of course, the spring creeks in Argentina with the beautiful browns and large brookies and all the good stuff. So I'm very, very, very fortunate that fly fishing has taken me places I would never be able to go otherwise, and also meet such fantastic people such as yourselves. Oh, Taylor Swift, massive fan. That is the fly box that I made in her honor. If you like her, great. If you don't, let's move on. So we're gonna pretend that that's a person with a little party hat, because here's the geography of what we're gonna talk about today. Because I grew up running all over the Hood Canal, And so I am not, okay, first of all, who has been on the north side of the Hood Canal and has seen, you can raise your hand, has seen the Decabush, the Dosuelos, the Hamma? Okay. Who, keep your hands up, you're doing so great. Who's fished any of those? Oh, goody. All right. So, excellent work. So, here's what I'm not gonna do, and then I'll tell you what I am gonna do. I am not gonna literally tell you lots of like nitty-gritty access. I'm not gonna tell you rocks to stand on. I am gonna talk to you about how great it is to fish these little gems. But we want to treat them well, and we want to treat them respectfully, and there are some things we need to do when we fish these streams that becomes of paramount importance. So we'll talk about them, but I'm gonna talk a little bit in general terms. Sometimes some might slip, but you understand, they're small streams. They're not the Yakima River where at times can be, a quarter or a half mile wide. These are little guys, okay? So, but first we're gonna start at the Dungeness. So, growing up, my first river was the Elwha. I loved it so much, I still do. I make that hike every year to go see how the valley is recovering after the dam came out.
I can just barely hear you.
You can what?
Just barely hear you.
Okay, sorry, I'll try.
Louder.
So we're gonna start with it. Well, then the Elwha, we can't fish it right now. We haven't been able to in quite some time, right? So that's that. I say hello to it. I dump my dad's ashes there. It's very special to me, but we're not gonna talk about the Elwha right now. I'm gonna tell you I love it, and I hope that it continues to grow and thrive. But we're gonna come back a little ways to the Dungeness.
Yeah, is it growing?
It is. It is. It has the most incredible return of summer steelhead that
That's what I've heard.
that we have seen in decades.
And some kings?
Well, all the salmonids.
Are they, I'll come around. Good, that's good.
It's they've done a lot of study on the summer steelhead there, and you can read about it. It's truly exciting.
It's a remarkable thing.
Oh, it's dynamic. It's incredible, for sure. So let's talk about the Dungeness River. So who has driven through Squim on their way to other places? I love it for all of us. This is going so well. So the Dungeness Spit, which everyone knows about, right? Well, the Dungeness River is this gorgeous, very cold, very steep, small river that comes down and then dumps out into the Spit. The groovy thing about the Dungeness River is that it has some gorgeous fish in it. Now, of course, it dumps into the saltwater, so of course we have salmon, trout, steelhead, right? Right? Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But what we also have is trout. And the focus of today is gonna be trout. I'll talk a little bit about sea run cuts, because they're around, and salmon and stuff, but that's not why I'm here today. We'll talk about it another time, I promise you. But really I wanted to talk about trout. And the Dungeness has some incredible trout that reside above a lot of the first 2 miles of the Dungeness Road. And you go River Road, you're up, you start to go up. You're headed towards a mountain called Tyler Peak. It's a big hunting area. I hunted it as a child with my dad. But Gold Creek is there. And if you decide to go for a lovely walk, it's a little bit steep, you're going to encounter some of the most small, pockety water known to man, really, truly, because the OP rivers, aside from our big guys, right, are little tiny streams and creeks, right? You're walking along and there's pocket. By the way, I think I made up pockety. TM, right here, it happened. It is small, pockety, and pass, but what resides in that river is incredible. We have Dolly Varden residents up above Gold Creek, and we have bulls that are anadromous, so they're coming in and out. So we have, Dolly up, bulls down. J. Michelle is not telling you to target these fish. If I hear anybody say after this that, oh my God, J. Michelle said go fish for these fish, she did not. It is expressly frowned upon via WDFW. We do not target these fish, but guess what? what we do target is gonna eat the same things as these guys. So here we go, ready? And this is why we wanna talk about this. So first of all, we've got Dolly Varden and bull trout. Did you know that they are very, very closely related? They're not trout, they're technically char, but they're very, very closely related. I have been in tight circles of, let's call it odorific gents after a day of fishing where they've gotten to heated exchanges about the difference between a dolly and a bull trout. And I've escaped before, like right at the door, and then I turn back and be like, they're closely related. I'm gone. But it's nothing really to argue about. There are some characteristic differences, but they're not that different. They behave exactly the same, except for the whole naturalist thing, right? So Dolly Varden are hanging out. They don't go to salt. They hang out. They kind of come down. They spawn. They go back up. They get really big. They live for a really long time. Bull trout, same, except bulls hang out in the estuary. And they come in to do their spawning thing, and they head back out to the estuary. So we have two very potentially older, large species of fish that are extremely predatory, which means
They'll bite it.
any imitation of a bait fish, they are gonna house. And they do. They crush it. So, skinny stream, pockety water. I'm looking at finding rainbows. I'm looking at finding sea run cuts. I'm looking at finding some more naturalized, or we'll call them localized, cutthroat. Up there, they're all eating delicious little bait fish imitations. That's great, that's fantastic. You're gonna catch dollies and you're gonna catch bulls. There's no way around it. This is why I'm saying this. It's a wonderful thing, they're gorgeous fish, but we need to be conscious of the fact that when we're fishing with streamers or anything that imitates a bait fish, you're gonna catch these fish. You're not out to target them, that's great. You're gonna catch them, so now what? So the reason that they are protected is that the powers that be want them to be okay, want them to revive and thrive, let's just say, okay? So what conditions, what can you do as fisher folk that will allow you to still fish in the Dungeness, which is a gorgeous river, for beautiful sea run cuts and rainbows, occasionally encountering a dolly and a bull? What can you do to ensure that that is an okay thing to do?
Go barbless.
Okay, we're hitting it off. Yes, go barbless. What else?
A release net.
Excellent, excellent. But I'm hiking 10 miles. Like,
So.
thank you. Can I pay you later? This is fantastic. What else? What else can you do?
Keep the fish in the water.
Say again?
Keep the fish in the water.
Yes! What is your name?
Roman.
Roman?
Yeah.
Dude, you're hired. I love that. Okay, perfect. What else?
Make sure your hands are wet before you.
Yeah, make sure your hands are wet. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Bring them in quickly.
Yes, okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but these guys can be rather large, and in small streams, we do not want to beat them up. We do not want to play them very long.
Could you name that creek again?
Gold Creek,
Golden Thing.
yes. And it's, I'm not giving away secrets. If you Google it, it will pop up. Yeah. Interesting fact about Tyler Peak, which is up above the Dungeness. If you go up and, if you really want to work out, do this. If you don't, do not. But it is almost 2.5 miles straight up. It's all switchback. And when you get to the top of Tyler Peak, do you remember, some of you maybe better than others, being a child and drawing mountains, like with crayons or whatnot? And for me anyway, I always envisioned like the mountain was just like that, and it was like, you know, so like just narrow, like you could ride it like a horse. Tyler Peak is exactly that. You could just straddle that mountain. And then you turn to your right, you can see Seattle at night. You see Seattle, you can come around, you see Everett, you can come around, you start to see parts of, like, Squim, Port Angeles, but you can see Canada. Like, it's an incredible viewpoint. It's very cold and windy up there, as you can imagine. You're very, very far above the water. But again, that's where we were bear hunting. Little aside.
Must have been chilly.
Okay, little aside, along the chilly part, we get up the next morning, Dad's off doing his bear hunting thing. I'm watching the burro, because we got a pack burro named Barney, which is a whole nother tale. I will tell you another time, but it's worth listening. And I'm cold, and I'm unhappy. And I think I'm like in 8th grade. I'm just that unhappy. There's no fishing to be had. Like, this is not my jam. But I'm like, you know, I've been watching my brothers, they're older than me, they've been in Boy Scouts, they can build a fire, I can build a fire. So I go wandering down, I find some dried whatever, and I get a fire going, and I'm super proud of myself. And while I'm doing this, and I'm all happy, getting warm, this little plane just suddenly, out of nowhere, just kind of like flies over. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. And then they fly over again. I'm like, oh, that's waving at the plane. All of a sudden, my dad's like booking, and he's like up, and he's like, put that fire out. I was like, what? He's like, that, you should not, this is restricted. You can't build a fire here. Essentially, they think you're gonna burn down the mountain. So anyway, I learned that wasn't so neat. But anyway, there you go. Back to the Dungeness River. It is a gorgeous river. It does have, well, we have steelhead that come in at least visit it, okay? We have the salmon that are in the Puget Sound, okay? And we have the sea run kites. So if you're into fishing for those, then the mouth and just a little bit up, that's gonna be your jam. If you wanna go trout, you're gonna go up to Gold Creek and beyond.
What time of year is it usually open? Because I see it's closed right now.
Where are we in March? Okay. So here's the deal, I'm not a regs professional. You will hopefully download and you will look this up. First Saturday in June, but anytime there is salmon involvement, you have got to keep an eye on the regs and, oh my gosh, right? So,
The app and.
yeah, and read the regs, so the emergency regs, like anytime there's any kind of, I mean, even if someone walked by the stream and mentioned salmon, look at the regs, like it's very dynamic. I got a ticket in 1994, and it was the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. I was on the wrong side of 101 casting, and I got a ticket and I had to go to court, because the ticket name of it was molesting salmon, and I was like, what? And it's because I was on the wrong side of 101, and I told the word, and I was like, listen, I'm fly fishing. He's like, congratulations. I was like, the hook is barbless. He's like, neato, here's your ticket. So anyway, we want to be really conscious of that, but look at the regs. That is typically when the Dungeness opens, especially up that far, but you're gonna want to check it out to see.
A piscatorial file.
Yes, I know, right? Terrible, so embarrassing, but it's a cautionary tale. So it's selective gear rules, it's barbless, no bait. And the one thing I'm gonna mention real quick, without getting too much in the weeds, is that the way that you make your hooks barbless is of paramount importance. So if you're coming at, this is the hook, and you're coming at it sideways, you are creating a rolled barb that is not optimal, and that is actually doing a lot of harm to the fish. You're making the hole that we already are giving them an involuntary piercing, you're making the hole larger. So we wanna come this way, scrape it down, and then you can come sideways and make sure it's flat, but anytime you're gonna debarb a hook, you're gonna come this way with your pliers. All right, that was your PSA, okay? Okay, are we good with the Dungeness? Sweet, I can demonstrate later if you like. I just heard some comments about that.
We just gotta redo all our work now.
I love it. So that's the trail along Gold Creek, and you can just see how gorgeous and beautiful that water is. One of the magical things about the Olympics to me is that while the bugs are there, and the bugs that we know, like caddis and such, October caddis, you know, they come out at night, and they come off at night. And they're startling because they're so large, as opposed to other bug you see, especially on the west side, right? So just imagine, you know, walking this trail at nighttime, camping or whatnot, and then about, you know, 10:30, 11, maybe it just starts to get dark, get a flashlight and go boom, and you're just gonna see caddis everywhere. You can step out into the stream at nighttime and just stand still, and you will get blanketed with October caddis. It's really fun, they don't bite, so it's pretty great. It's pretty magical. Not weird at all. Okay, so we're gonna leave the Dungeness, y'all, and we're gonna head down the north side of the Hood Canal, okay? Who has heard of the Coolacine River? There are two, the big and the small. Big and little. Wonderful. I see hands. It's really excellent. Who has maybe fished the Coolacine? Either one. Oh, I love it.
While working on restoration there.
Oh, very good. Awesome. Who has seen the restoration projects, plural, on the Coolacine? Okay, then you all get to have a wonderful field trip. There are two restoration projects. One is current-ish, the other one is older, but they're both incredible. And they did a really good job of de-channeling what was done about a little over 100 years ago now to the Coolacine and returning that bay to its estuary, to its original site. So we have a lot more habitat for fish and other sea creatures. Sea run cuts are in the estuary. Here's a little just hint for you. I don't know who said it, but in August, it is true. On the incoming side, the incoming tide in that estuary, it's some of the best sea run cuts fishing I've had in the Hood Canal. Just take that, just remember that. It's delightful. And I was not in a boat, I was walking off. So, we have sea run cut throughout the estuary, up into the big and little Coolacine. There, here is a map of the estuary and the project that is. If you look at any map on Google, you're going to see, like you could look at the old map and see where it was not, but now you can see the big out. There are some great explanations, reader boards. There's a recovery center there for the estuary. It's a wonderful trip to go and just look at it. It's a beautiful thing to do in spring and summer. It's absolutely gorgeous. But the big Coolacine is what I kind of want to highlight here. And that is when you go up the road beyond and you start to get into sort of the mountainous areas of the Coolacine, that's where trout start to happen and happen in mass. Let's say in mass, let's not say in size. They are prolific. If you are a numbers person, you're going to be giddy. If you are a size person, may I invite you to just start recording the inches and then put them together. For the most part, that will make both of you very happy when you are fishing, but look how gorgeous that river is. Yeah, it is tremendous. Sorry. Okay, so we have rainbow and cutthroat. There's a hatchery, so you want to get above the hatchery when you're fishing for trout. I mean, you can fish below the hatchery, but if you want trout, get above. And then there's some special regs on keeping hatchery fish there, as you can imagine. So if you have a taste for hatchery fish, that is a place you could fish and retain. But again, make sure you know how to differentiate between a hatchery and a wild. Make sure that you're doing catch and release, getting your hands wet, et cetera, and make sure that you are obeying the rules, because you can't be, as we all know, because we fish in Washington State, can't be too close to the dam, can't be too close to the hatchery, you have to be between point A, point B. I don't want you joining my club of the molesting salmon ticket thing. So just pay attention. Anytime there's salmon, right? People are paying a lot of attention. Anytime there's a state and a federal hatchery, people are paying a lot of attention. So just know that and really do your study beforehand. I will give credit to hatchery personnel and WDFW. When you ask them, they will tell you exactly where to go or not go, and that's very helpful. So don't be afraid to sort of deploy those resources for yourself. Questions on the Coolacine? Hi.
Does not the big flow, like after the hatchery, does not that get really steep really quick?
It can get really steep really quick.
Are you talking before it gets really steep really quick?
Say again?
Are you talking before it
Yeah,
gets-
because there's a waterfall that I would not suggest going above and trying to fish, but you can fish from right after the hatchery to that waterfall. And that is truly where the lovely trout streams are, I think. And I mean, that's where that picture is taken too. Yeah, good job. Golden?
Golden.
Sweet. Oh, the Dosey wallets. Who's been to the Dosey? We're getting a little now towards south. Wait, 1, 2, who else? 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. What state, have you been to the state park there? Where have we been to the Dosey Wells?
Yeah, this thing.
Okay.
Exploring.
Exploring.
Big guy.
Right next to the buoy dock.
Outstanding. The Gooey Duck Tavern is a landmark in and of itself.
Yeah.
They do a lot of beer drinking and derby fishing right out onto the Cahoon Canal right there. It's a very popular place. There's a big state park. In summer, it is a crowded mess. However, if you just start to go up, you're gonna lose people real quick. And you're gonna see some beautiful country. Who just raised their hand?
Oh, no, I just was.
Hi.
Enchanted Valley. I've been up there.
Yes.
Beautiful. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, right? Oh,
It's well
my
named.
heart.
Well named.
Yes, exactly. Did you fish along it?
I didn't. No,
Oh.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Dosey truly is the gateway to, it's on the east side of the Olympics, it's the gateway into them. From the Dosey, you can go through the deepest canyon in the Olympic National Park. A lot of it is national forest, and then it becomes national park. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, be careful, it's very steep. But getting, like, if you're gonna say drive along the road and you're gonna go fish, you're gonna be rappelling down. Not really, but you're tempted. Just be careful, please. And getting back up, as you can imagine, is a pain in the butt, but it's absolutely worth it. It's truly, truly gorgeous. And when I talk about it, I swear to God, I can smell it. Like that smell of the Olympic Forest and Park is it's embedded in me. It's the ferns, it's the moss, it's the water. It's just amazing. Same. Oh, it's just it's wonderful. So there is a lot of roadside access, believe it or not, right after that state park. It's going to be steep. There's an old road that you can't drive anymore, but you can hike. And the access to that fishing is wonderful. Be prepared to bushwhack, bring bug spray. The deer flies love it there. And so that's the price we pay for a little bit of remote mountain fishing, but it's absolutely gorgeous. You can through hike from there through the Enchanted Valley to the Quinault to the ocean, and you can fish almost the entire way. So it is absolutely gorgeous. Now, as we head down the canal, as we go down that little red line I showed you, the fish are the same in terms of not great in size, but great in numbers. So the way in which you fish for them is important, right? We don't have the dolly bull involvement that we did, although we do, but not as much. At least we don't talk about it as much. I haven't done all the research, but just anecdotally, I've never run into them as prolifically as I have further north and further south. But gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And usually when I was fishing there, I wasn't really hanging out near the saltwater. I was hiking. So just know, but it is absolutely gorgeous. If you've not been, please go. It's tremendous. I can't say enough. And then we have the Decabush. So the Decabush River is a little bit further down. It's steeper and pocketier. Again, that's my word. It's steeper and pocketier, and it's super trout-y. But this is really the finest example of, if you're a size person, you're gonna be disappointed. Aside from the occasional like salmon or whatnot at the mouth-ish, you've got small trout, but they're absolutely beautiful. And that's not true forever, but it is skinnier for the most part. It is very, that is a very typical sort of encounter as you get further up the river. So it's harder to access the fishing. Like you can imagine, because I did, did, just hanging over the edge with your rod, just like trying to, and then figuring out if I catch a fish, where am I gonna go to land it? But it's super fun and super great. Very exciting. That size or numbers things is very true. This is what I'll tell you about the Decabush, is that if you make noise, if you cast a shadow, if you are not stealthy, you will not see a fish, you won't touch a fish. Well, it is so small and in sort of boxed in. The fish are small and darty, and they're just like, you know, what's gonna eat me now, right? They're just super aware. I mean, most fish are, right? But in my experience in the Duckabush, small, slow movements, taking care not to like drop, you know, knock rocks in the water, that kind of thing, becomes important if indeed you want to catch more than one or two fish, right? Which is something we already know, but sometimes it bears repeating, especially we're in little streams and we're like, there can't be any fish in there. There are fish in there. Okay, so the quieter we are, the more fish we're going to discover. And then honestly, this is J. Michelle's interpretation of the how, okay? And I just gave you my 3 top favorites. There are more, but here's the thing. When I fish these gorgeous, beautiful rivers, I am no bigger than a 4-weight because I want to feel it. I want to have some fun. If I get housed by a dolly or a bull, that's on me. It's barbless and I'm not going to play it that long. I will break it off if I need to, okay? I'm not using 9-foot leaders either. That's almost suicide. Have you tried to like do a bow and arrow cast with a 9-foot leader? It makes you want to cry. And there should not be crying in fly fishing a lot. So go with a shorter leader. There's no shame in your game, okay? And it's so like narrow in most part, and there's so many places to hide and cast around. You're gonna be fine with something shorter. Well, like I have a 4-weight that's a 7.6. That is really lovely for me. It's the Echo Carbon XL. So it's a little beefier, but it's short. So that's a fun run. Proper catch and release is a must. Take a net, use a net. Where'd Roman go? You said get your hands wet, is that what you told me?
I said keep the fish in the water.
Good job. Okay, both of you are absolutely correct. Yes, and thank you. Get your hands wet before you do any handling. It's fantastic to get pictures, right? Just get that fish in the net, put your hand below the net, cup the fish. You don't need to reach in and grab the fish. You really don't. Just get in below that net, get a nice little shot. Do not target dollies and bulls. Do not. Absolutely do not. You will catch them, however, and because that is true, you will please take great care in their catch and their
What's the
release.
name of the flies little out?
Oh, I'll get there in a second. You're like, I got you. And then please don't overplay the fish. Okay. And then honest to Pete, please have a blast. Please take pictures and please call me and tell me how it goes. I miss home so much. It's crazy. I love the Yakima, and I get emotional because this place is my home. This is where I grew up. This is it's like my lifeblood. I love it so much. I love talking about it. I don't love crying about it, but here we are. It's just so special to me, y'all. And you've been there, and you'll go there somewhere, and you'll be like me, and you'll be. And maybe in a couple of years, you're talking a little tarot trickery, and you'll be like, ah, J. Michelle. Okay, flies. Ready. So that is a caddis pupa at the top. It imitates the October caddis, and it's called bird of prey. We all know that flies, you change one little iota and they can name it something completely different. But it's bird of prey. It's very, very effective and deadly and good for when we're nymphing along, okay? And then we have, and actually this is tied by Ken Moorish, but that is the Octo caddis by Ken Moorish. It has a foam body, but the rest of it is, and then it's got the big elk. Like the traditional elk hair caddis works fantastically, but if you're targeting like September, if you're targeting October caddis with that foam body is delightful. And then that elk hair is fantastic. So that is like my favorite fly. If I'm not using the regular caddis, the elk hair caddis, then it's Ken Marsh's Octo caddis. And then it's the micro screamer. So no, remember we're in little streams, and so we're not going to be throwing a gigantic Dalai Lama. I mean, if you could, no, I can't tell you not to, but you won't catch anything. Micro streamers are where it's at. This happens to be a micro,
And what's it called again?
micro Dolly Varden. Yeah, micro, so tiny,
So it is a
tiny
micro.
streamers, yeah. So Ken Morris again, he ties a ton of micro streamers, small streamers, and they're wonderful. One of the best that I have found is the Dalai Lama. It was tied, it was invented in Alaska, but it works everywhere because it imitates a big fish, right? And you can go, now Ken Morris also is credited with tying some other micro streamers that have the barbell eyes. And there's nothing wrong with them except if you're in smaller streams, this is my personal discovery, and you may have a different experience, but I want to be as streamlined as possible, and I know that I'm stripping a streamer, but I don't want to be that disruptive. Like it's already, like I've dropped it, so boom, they know something's there. But the barbell eyes catch on stuff, and I don't like the way that they pull in a smaller sort of environment. So I do like the more cone shape. That's me, that's just preference. You'll probably catch fish all day long on the little eye ones and say that I'm a liar, and that's fine. But
Can you try that as a dropper off of the,
the bird of prey,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely you can, yeah. As long as this guy's big enough to be buoyant enough for you. Yeah, and then the other thing about, this is heresy, I know, but the other thing about these little streams is I stopped using indicators. Oh, I'll use bobicators on the Yakima and the Clay Elm and other places. I will use an indicator. I am not a purist. I won't use them here though, because they're annoying, they're too big, and I am pretty convinced that I'm cutting down my chances of catching anything. So I'll use the biggest fly I can get away with so I can have
Sure,
that as my, you know what I mean?
that's the way I like it.
I mean, they even make those tiny, what do they call them, football
Yeah, no,
dropper indicators. I'm too superstitious.
What are the sizes of those?
Yes, so that top, the bird of prey, that is a size 14. I usually do like a 14, 16, but that is a size, they're a bigger larva, so you're not tiny. And then that guy, I think the picture I took was a 10, an 8 or a 10. And but that is a size 8, that's a size 8 hook. And so that micro streamer is only like that long. Whereas in life, Dalai Lamas are at least, what are we gonna call that, 3.5 inches? But they're tiny. And truly, the Dalai Lama have a lot of different streamers. The movement of that rabbit, the bunny strip, is incredible. Zonkers, if you guys are familiar with the zonker, when I was in Argentina fishing for browns and brooks, when we weren't, and these small streams, when we weren't using beetles, big old terrestrials, we were using zonkers and cleaning up because, man, they look just like little bait fish. All right, any other questions on that? Wrong way. Okay, then I will just share with you that I do run a fly shop and guide service over on the Yakima River. I am in Roslyn when they film Northern Exposure, FYI.
Great show.
I guess, yeah. I am having an event. There's a women in fly fishing celebration. It's been a holiday for I guess 10 years now. We decided to do something about it and have a big party. So it's happening the third weekend of June. There's a QR there you can snap. We will be spreading it far and wide. We're just not done with all the people who are donating yet, so we can't put out the flyer.
Already signed up.
Look at you.
Just need a place to stay.
Right on. So we have blocks of rooms in hotels. We've rented blocks of campsites, and there's Britta Fortis is coming to do fly tying. If you don't know who Britta is, you should. And we are fortunate to have one of the world's premier fly tyers, designers, live in Silverdale. She's coming. We have a NRS representative from Virginia coming and bringing all things personal flotation to fly fish from, and going to do a demonstration, and people can try it out. And then we have lots of other types of clinics and classes. You do not need to be a woman to attend. You just have to realize that we're going to be celebrating women in fly fishing. Fair? Cool. All right.
comment on that. I have a good friend over in Montana by the name of Whitney Gould. You gotta call her.
I know Whitney.
Yeah.
I did call her.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. She's fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah. She's amazing, yeah.
She is a piece of work.
She's, well, yes, she's also world champion, so here we are.
7 times.
Yeah, very good. So this is my information. I really appreciate you letting me come and talk to you this evening. If you have any other questions or whatnot, holler at me or I'll stick around a little bit after.
Can you talk about what you got going on in your shop?
Sure.
Flies, leaders, lines?
It's a fly
rods?
shop. I'm an outfitter. I have everything and I
Okay.
run 6 guides plus me out of the shop.
And are you a new owner of it?
So the shop's been around since 2009. I helped run it for the last 5 years in the summer and then 2 years ago, I moved over there and bought it.
I fished with a guy who was a cop or a fireman that owned it back when, guided.
The only person that's ever owned it is named Guy Drew, and he's very tall. He's like your height.
Yeah.
He's
I
a
think-
carpenter.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah. was
but that's
nice.
it.
It was a nice shop,
Well, I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yes,
With the rivers you mentioned, is there a particular spot that you like to stay in the peninsula that might be kind of central if you wanted to organize like a weekend outing?
so that state park I spoke of is if you can get like a group, there are group sites there and they're quite lovely. But also all the way down the canal, there's like private campgrounds that you can get in, like Lilywalk has one, which that's a little south, but come up Brennan has some. There's a lot of both private and state county campgrounds along the canal. And I would recommend looking into
What
that.
about like lodges or things like that?
There are, well, let's put lodge in quotations. Managing expectations. There are a couple different lodge type hotels or hotels, I guess, not hotel, that you might want to look up, but again, like I would start with Brennan, Brinnon, and then go north of, north, and sort of look up there, for sure. Yeah, great question. Yes?
Do you do different colors with the bird of prey?
No, great question. I love that question.
What was the question?
Do you do different colors with the bird of prey? Not when you're tying the bird of prey because it's imitating the October caddis, and October caddis is set apart not only for its size, but it's bright orange. So we stay with that theme. Yeah, great question.
Have you ever been fishing on the Union River?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I actually helped
Yeah.
Puget Sound, Hood Canal Restoration. I did a project there with them. Yeah.
Worth going?
When it's open and if you can access, because there's not a lot of public access to the Union River, but I have encountered some very delightfully large and robust sea runs, among other things. Also, it's a huya, since we're on the subject. All right, oh, yes.
So for these rivers that you're talking about, is there an optimal time of the year? Is it the normal kind of July through?
Spring, summer,
late
fall,
Sep-
for
okay.
sure, yeah. First of all, you're gonna be restricted by when they're open to fish. Secondly, they're west side streams and they're smaller, so if you're looking for bug activity, you're gonna have to wait till it's pretty buggy, which puts us later in the year, usually, later in the summer. But if we're talking bait fish patterns, then that's when we start to wonder I wonder what the tide's doing, I wonder how much the estuary's in, I wonder how much in tidal involvement there is in the mouth of this river.
How about the scope?
Oh, don't get me started on the scope. That's south, that'll be next time. Yeah, yeah. That's, we're real south.
Throw a fly out and hook us.
The Skoke is a wonderful, wonderful river, and those two fish I was telling you should never target there. All right.